either like encouraging people to have for novelty. Okay, and another way is by removing constraints. So the problem is to have this elimination. That's why people should be relaxed. Is because you kind of have you have constraints. One of the questions you were asking is people when they specify the requirement, they are also thinking of how to design the system. And this kind of put constraints. So if the domain properties doesn't exist, if the system doesn't have any constraint, well, not any, but just either like eliminate them or diminish them. So the idea of instead of thinking about anything possible, you just think about what you want instead of thinking of what is possible and what is not. And then during the verification step, then we reduce them and check the validation. But during the divergence, you remove constraint and try to come up with properties that you can do. And another way is instead of focusing on the same problem, you kind of use analogy. So there's kind of to think about how launching a rocket, you think about posture basically and try to come up with properties. There is a whole project for that, and then because this, and you try to make these analogies, it's also a way to remove the constraint from here. Okay, and then you have to come up with to link these analogies together. Okay, so basically there are kind of three types of innovation: thinking of exploring the space. So one way is so exploring the space as in you just follow path, or you kind of extend your search space. Other ways kind of because the domain properties. So because the domain properties are kind of restraining the problem, you remove some or you relax some of these properties to make your search space bigger, so you have more chances to explore a new alternative. And the third way is by through combination. So this is, for example, with web services, you kind of just try to combine services in different ways to see if you can come up with more innovative services. So there are many activities that kind of dropping the rules or relaxing the rules, relaxing the constraints. And one other way is also through storyboard. So instead of, which we saw earlier, that instead of kind of putting the constraint of the language there, you kind of relax the constraint of the language, and then you put people just drawing. So it gives more liberty there. Okay. Yes.
This relaxing concentration is only temporary to find a creative way, and then you have to force those concentration later step.
Yeah. So it's always you have as I said here, it's like phases. So you have kind of phases in the creative thing. So you have to make yourself like to go in a state where you are more relaxed and you can come up with nicer idea. But then you have to kind of concentrate them and to see if they are valid or not. So there are even a kind of a trend that says, for example, trying to capture people's dream. Because when you are dreaming, you are not constrained somehow, and you can come up with new ideas. But also because your kind of critical sense is at the lowest, you can come up with good ideas. So that's why it's like enforcing to have more novelty, but requirements are not just, well, requirements or anything, it's not just novelty, it's also useful. So during this one, it's kind of, during this phase, we are focusing on the novelty, but during this phase, the lower phase, we are focusing on usefulness. Okay? So yeah, I mean, you have to validate them to see if what you come up with has made any sense or not. But the first and the most important, well, creativity focus and exploring new things instead of finding them out or there. So this idea is a little bit the new thing. This one is the same. You have, once you kind of find out the new ideas, you have to critique it, to validate it, to measure it, etc. So you kind of come up to a revised model which is more restrained.